Tour junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? It's the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am betting show, outrights, talking top 20s. What do we do at Pebble Beach now that everything's different? All that good stuff coming. We're also going to spin the punishment wheel of punishments at the end of the show to determine the penalty that the season-long loser, me or Pat, will have to do. And boy, we got some zingers on the wheel tonight. You're not going to want to miss that at the end. Pat, what happened at Torrey Pines at the Farmers?
Well, a certain Frenchman won. Pavon. Matthieu.
What? Producer Tony?
Matthieu Pavon. Matthieu.
Tony's been working on new toys.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yes.
God bless you, Tony. Yeah, I mean, what a victory there for Matthieu. I mean, I had him on the betting card 2 weeks ago. Does that give me like partial credit?
Yeah. Everybody can say this. Like, I was actually really close to putting him on the card, but of course I couldn't pull the trigger. What a wild start. It just keeps getting weirder. We're going to talk about whether or not we think that continues this week at AT&T. But producer Tony does have new toys, and he's messing around with the soundboard. And Tony, you've got some surprise. Do you have any surprises for us tonight, or are you gonna kind of like just throw them in there when you can?
I'm gonna throw a few in there when I can. So obviously I've got
Pavon, Matthieu,
and then I've got the quick version of that.
Matthieu,
bless you. I've also got one from a couple shows ago.
Pavon.
Oh,
Matthieu.
Wrong button.
And I'm not leaving this building until there's a finger up my ass.
Now that was actually about you, DB.
Goodness.
Yes.
These are the things that I don't like about having a producer. Now, I love Tony, but these things are taken out of context. And listen,
Tony, don't give me. I want you to surprise me with them now. I don't want you to give any more secrets.
Yeah, don't give them all away.
The other two. So here's what I want to do. The other two, they're easy ones to figure out. We've got
Hissachuncie.
And then I've got one of each. I've got one of each for that.
You said it different.
Hissachuncie.
Your DB sounds like Chappelle from the Player Haters Ball. So what I want to do, listeners, YouTubers, throw in the comments here some of the drops that we need to have, that I need to have on this board. DB, Pat, you guys can give me suggestions too. I'm going to be doing all kinds of like extra listening to today's show and just taking all kinds of stuff out of context, mixing stuff together that you guys probably didn't even say and throwing it on this board. But those are the ones that I have right now. So just 5, keeping it light for right now. But as we go throughout the year, I'll accumulate. That's the word I'm looking for. Accumulate.
Yeah.
I will accumulate some different drops, and then we can add them in during the shows.
Let me tell you, the drops are certainly going to be much better when we can do a live show at 8:00 with some podcast juice and whatever else.
Dude, I've got me some real podcast juice tonight. I'm going with a hazy IPA right now.
Nice. I got a little Pilsner going. It's a good one. First time I've had this one. It's really good.
What's it called?
It's called Euphonia.
Hey, boy, you phone your mama yet?
Hissachuncie. Yeah. I phoned you for a Pilsner.
Listen, one of the funniest parts of my Wednesday, because it was such a wasn't that? Yeah, one of the funniest parts of my Wednesday was somebody in the nut hut. I think it was Pilk 22, who's back in the hut. A lot of you guys leave for football season, and then you come back, and you always come back. It's all right. We welcome you with open arms. I think it was Pilk. Like 20 minutes into golf on Wednesday, posted in the nut hut. He's like, "I've used the Pat scent." He patented it, Pat scent, like accent. I've used the Pat scent like no less than 20 times to say, here's what to say.
Kiss a tunsie. That even sounded a little more refined right there.
It did. I didn't remember it being like. I think Tony found another one. You said it multiple ways, but that one is great. I just died laughing at that one. Anyway, yeah, Matthieu Pavon does the thing.
Matthieu.
It's a wild year. We're not going to talk about it a ton. We're going to move on because we got a lot to cover. We're going to get into the season-long bet stuff. People are asking in the chat about Danny Woodhead's appearance. Danny Woodhead is making an appearance on the DFS show this week, so you're going to want to check that out, as well as we're going to drop some additional Danny Woodhead content because Danny was ready to talk it up today when we spoke. So we had a long conversation about the state of professional golf, PGA Tour, Live, and Danny is a golf addict, 100% golf addict, watches it, plays it, loves it, thinks about it, dreams about it. All of it, loves it. And Danny had a lot of takes on professional golf. So we're going to drop that maybe on Friday. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't able to be on there because you messed up the times. It's your fault.
No, Danny did not specify AM or PM. I've never texted a podcast guest and they've been like 8:30 or 9. And he meant AM. Like no one's ever done that for us.
Yeah, well, it happened now. So it's got to be on your brain.
We're the Tour Junkies. We have a blind squirrel mascot. Like, how many AM podcasts do you think we're doing?
Yeah.
Over under for the year is 1. I would bet the under.
True. Can I help you?
I'm ready to move on if you are, Pat. Are you?
No, I thought you had another thing you wanted to talk. Did you already talk about the wheel spin?
Yeah, I've already teased
You
that.
did? Okay. Oh, so it's time to talk some Swannies. Listen, DB, did you know that this water bottle right here can make a t-shirt?
Shut up.
It can make a t-shirt. I've got it on right here. The goat, the tiger
Dude, look
goat,
at that.
the tiger goat t-shirt from Swannies.
Dude, that's a murdered out tiger goat.
It's freaking awesome. It feels great. I mean, and it's made with water bottles, man. I mean, if you've ever questioned whether or not you're doing good for the environment, well, you should just buy Swannies.
What kind of wizardry do they use to make t-shirts out of water bottles?
I have no clue. But you know what? If you use the discount code TJ25, you get 25% off, and you can keep going again and again and again. It's like going back to the bar for more beers. You could just keep going and going and going, getting another shot, and they're never going to cut you off. They're never going to tell you to go home. So you don't have to. Use TJ25. Swannies is awesome, by the way. I love the fact they've got a lot of good women's stuff. They got juniors, those kind of things. They got I got that pullover that you had on last week, which was awesome, the Van Dyke. I can't wait to wear that thing when we're out in Arizona next week because it looks like it's going to be a little bit chilly.
Yeah.
I'm going to need it.
Yeah.
So TJ25 Swannies. By the way, what do you think they could make out of this beer can?
Dude, they might have made this polo. Because this is a Swannies polo. And I like this because it's got like the little subtle hits on the, you know what this part of the shirt is called, Pat? What is that called? Do you know what that's called?
The lower collar?
Yes, it don't say. It's called the placket.
Oh yeah, the placket. You learned that when you were doing.
I love a good stiff placket. Like I like a structure in the collar and in the placket. You know what I mean? Placard. My bad. See, I didn't even know what it is. Placard. That's right. I love a lot of structure right here. So I like that. Anyway, this is polos from Swannies. Well done, Pat. You know, the people always want more ad reads from you. So we're going to try to deliver. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love Swannies stuff. It's awesome anyway. So
I should let everybody know, too. I want to remind everybody in the Discord, the Wednesday night chat, we're going to have Byron, the Model Maniac, as a guest chatter for at least the first hour. If he sticks around for the rest of the shenanigans that go down after that, we'll see. But Model Maniac Byron will be in there. He's been apparently, I heard you guys really crushed it in Showdown this week. Shout out to our boy Chris Draper. I think new Nut Hut member won a Showdown contest, won like 4,000 on Showdown the other day. So good job on Chris. Byron's been helping a lot in that department, and he's going to be with us chatting it up on Wednesday nights for a lot of these big signature events and majors. We got a bunch of guest chatters lined up in the Discord to go along with me and Pat on Wednesday night. So you don't want to miss that. All right, let's get to it, Pat. Let's talk about it. The AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Now, I want to ask you, like, this is my morning got kind of hijacked by Danny's scheduling issues and miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a whole lot of time to do a whole lot before the first look show today. I did the first look show with the crew. It was a good time. But like, this is just weird, right? This is just a weird Pebble week. We're used to a full field. We're used to,
3 courses.
Larry the Cable Person with his gut hanging out, and Ray Romano and Bill Murray looking slightly manic, and it's just 3 courses. Yeah, a cut after 54 holes. It's just going to look different. It's not the U.S. Open. It's not going to be the U.S. Open 2019 at Pebble where Gary Woodland won. But it's not going to be what it has been. And now it's stacked. The field is as stacked as it can get for the PGA Tour, especially now that freaking Terrell Hatton, who's on my season-long team, and the Nut Hut is gone. God. Anyway, like, how different do you see this playing? Like, the last 4 or 5 years, your winning score has been in that 18 to 20 under category. We are looking to get some serious weather coming in. That's something to monitor. I mean, even though we're not going to have like necessarily a wave advantage because they're going to be 80 guys split up on 2 courses, there is an advantage to playing Spyglass or Pebble in biblical weather if they get it. Right now, it looks like it's all projected to go down on Wednesday night. But if that starts to move or carry into Thursday, we could see delays. We're definitely going to see ball in hand. I can tell you that. The tour is so fast to do lift, clean, and place in soft conditions. They did it last week at Torrey, and it rained on Monday. And then they did it on Wednesday. It's like figuring out what's going to take place. And then you throw into all of that, the 4 winners we've had so far in 4 weeks. What are we even doing? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think we're probably, for one, I think we're going to get a short odds winner this week.
You think so?
I do think so.
Now, are you just saying that because like it feels cool to be like, everything's going to get right. Everything's going to shape up just the way it's all going to get back to where it's supposed to be. The world's going to start revolving on its axis again.
Well, I think the odds in general would tell you that eventually, this should happen. That we should get, especially in a field like this where you've got, such great players that are playing. I don't mind that it's a little bit different. We always go into this week talking about how terrible the field is and slow play and the amateurs and how stupid some of it is and whatever else. But this tournament's been around a long, long time, and they're finally getting a lot of good players here, which I think is great. The amateurs are only going to play 2 days. So the scoring, I do think, will be better those first 2 days because it's like we saw at the American Express. You got easier pin positions. They can't put them in like the most difficult spots. But then when you get to Saturday and Sunday, they can get it a lot tougher at Pebble Beach because they'll have 3 rounds at Pebble Beach and 1 round at Spyglass. So I think that I do kind of like it this year. I'm interested to see how it plays. I would say it's probably going to be a mix between how a U.S. Open might play at Pebble and what you would see at a normal AT&T Pebble Beach. So we'll say, like, how about this? Gary Woodland won at 13 under. I would say I bet you instead of like 20 under winning this golf tournament, you're probably in that 15 under range wins this golf tournament.
Yeah,
now, maybe even less than that with this weather. I don't know. Maybe it is more like a 12, 13 under.
Well, I don't think the weather, unless it affects Thursday morning, to me, I think it's going to play easier. It's going to be soft. There's a lot of rain coming. Wednesday, rain on Thursday and Friday. It's just like Wednesday, I'm looking right now, the winds on Wednesday in the late afternoon, gusting up to 45 miles an hour with sustained winds at 30 on Wednesday afternoon into the evening. If that,
think of that carries into some of the Thursdays and Fridays.
I don't think they'll play in wind at 47 miles an hour.
No, they won't. But what I'm saying is, if you even have, it's just because it's softer doesn't necessarily mean this course is going to be that much easier. With the smallest greens on tour, you still got to hit good golf shots into these greens.
Yeah, you do. I just think if they're not firmed up, these guys are going to be able to attack a little more without as much penalty. And it's got a high fairway hit percentage rate here. This place really neuters the bombers. Everybody's going to be hitting fairways. I was looking at average driving distance, even at the U.S. Open version, where they stretched the course out a little bit. And Rory's average driving distance for the week was like 284. Woodlands was
Yeah.
273. So I mean, this place really will neuter you no matter what.
Do you know what you're already seeing though? Is this thought this, like, because it's such, you got 80 people, 80 players, the odds are gonna be like they are. Like, you're gonna see a Brian Harmon at a 80-1 or some weird. You're gonna see weird numbers because what else are they gonna do? It's gonna be. It's like the DraftKings score, the way they've priced DraftKings. It's gonna be soft as hell. Eric Cole's gonna be 7,400.
Super soft, yeah.
Because that's what we have this week in this type of field. You're gonna have to get used to that, and don't think just because you're getting some number, some crazy number that you got a great bet, because it's just not the same as having 150 people in the field.
Yeah, it is. It is nice though to have. I mean, you mentioned Brian Harmon, like we're
Well,
going to
yeah,
that range, but like it's nice to have a guy with his skill set that should translate well to Pebble, who's a major champion at 80-1. Like that feels nice.
It does, but doesn't it also make you think that the books are obviously know something, that it's probably going to be a shorter odds person up in here that's winning because of the fact that they're offering? I don't know.
That is insane. You're not the first person to say that today. The books don't know jack. Nobody knows jack the first 4 weeks of this.
Just because of the first 4 weeks are not a trend for the whole year.
Every single week for 2024, you could have said the same thing you just said. Oh, the books know something. Look at all these shorties in here, these short guys.
Golf is obviously the hardest handicap. We know that.
Yeah, it's insane. Now, yeah, I obviously I agree with you. The odds as this thing keeps going is not going to be that we're going to keep having these long shot winners. At some point, it's going to crack, and a signature event with 80 guys and a lot of the best players in the world could be there. But I will say, it's not like Pebble is a perfect course for some of the top players in the world to differentiate themselves, because it is very difficult to gain strokes off the tee here. If you look at past champs, past top 10 guys, we looked on Bet the Number, the course breakdown. If you look at the top 10, top 5 guys, top 20 guys over the last however many years, like gaining strokes off the tee is hard to do. And so if you're Scotty Scheffler, like, what would you rather play? Would you rather play a course like Pebble, or would you rather play a course that's longer like Torrey, that allows you to leverage your ball striking, your long irons, your mid irons, your bombing, like, what would you rather play? You would not rather play Pebble. So I do think that Pebble allows for even more some variance. So I
would say, I mean, it's a shorter course too, and all of that. I mean, I would agree there. The thing is, though, I think when you're looking at, if you're trying to do this yourself without a fantastic site like Bet the Number, which I don't know why you wouldn't have Bet the Number anyway, you're going to look and you're going to say, well, there's all these players in this field that don't have a great history here, because they don't have a history here, because this field never really has. They've just not had the greatest players in the world like they're having this week. You really can't even look at that this week at all, outside of the guys that are up there that we typically see play here. There's just not a lot. I mean, Scheffler,
Rory,
freaking Rory, Morikawa.
Hovland doesn't even come here very much. I think he came here last year. I was looking at that too. I posted in the Discord some things about guys who have finished in the top 20 over the last few years and what kind of experience they had at Pebble. I don't necessarily think that that great experience is necessary at Pebble, but I do think some. Jordan Spieth talked about it at a press conference a couple years ago, like having some understanding of Pebble as this is a $10 word we're going to hear a lot this week, microclimate. Pebble kind of being this microclimate of its own and having some of the nuance it has. He talked about how he thinks experience, or at least some laps around here, do matter. But I mean, if you look at guys who've won or top 5, like plenty of them have missed cuts and bad finishes, and they've just got a couple laps around it. So I agree. I don't think like the course history thing is super mandatory this week. I don't think it's going to be that hard to figure out. It's going to be, hey, hit the fairway at all costs, even if you have to lay back off the tee. Then it's attack, and I hope you like POA. Slap you on the ass and tell you to go on. And I hope you can get out of bunkers, because if you miss greens, you're going to be in bunkers.
Yeah.
That's it. That's going to be the key to success. So, all right, let's look at the top of the board, Pat. Let's go ahead and start off with our season long fade. Again, I clipped you last week. I clipped you again.
I know.
I had Minwoo. Minwoo's been paying off nicely for me. I will say that. I've had him now 2 weeks.
I wanted to go first. I wanted Minwoo, and
You get to go first now. You get to go first.
I know, but this is even tougher.
I think this one was easier. I thought this was easier than last week.
Now, I do think there's a line to be drawn, but I'm going off of
Look at Tony and his graphic totals. Look, I'm up on you by about 1.2 million.
Good gosh.
But you know what? I was thinking about this today as I was writing out the punishments. I'm like writing these punishments going, God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And I was thinking, dude, I mean, we're choosing to fade guys in this 30 to 1 or shorter range. We are bound to pick a winner. And like one or two winners is going to change the whole landscape of this thing. No lead is safe unless it just gets out of hand.
Yeah. Well, I went almost two totally different directions here. I almost went with the favorite. I literally almost was about to take Rory as my guy, but then I was thinking,
woo, the ball's on you, huh?
There's no way I can do that. So instead, I'm going on the Verge, and you may have to agree to this one, actually. But I think I'm going. This is the second time that I'm going with this guy. I'm going with Fitzy.
I did look at Fitzy, and he was, our rule is 30 to 1 at some point. He's moved a little bit. I think now he's 35.
I think he's a little longer, but I don't know. We may have to have approval. Maybe Tony has to approve it. I don't know.
So far, we've handled this very gentlemanlike, okay? Because I think we had an approval earlier in the year, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
This is like playing golf, right? Playing match play, playing your member guest. Early in the match, if you want to give a guy, a 3-footer.
Yeah, you could do it. I mean,
you give it early.
Listen, I don't think Fitzy's. It's a little risky too. This feels like a good.
They're all risky. They're all risky right now. I'm gonna give you the 3-footer at the beginning of the match, and I'm gonna.
Okay, well, I appreciate that because I know this is gonna come up. I mean, this is a season-long bet. It's gonna come up again.
Now, why did you pick Fitzy?
Well, here's a few reasons. Now he actually fared well here at the U.S. Open, and he has played here a few times. So I think Fitzy isn't like the worst. I don't know, but I don't like what I'm seeing out here. He missed a cut at the Sony. He just doesn't seem right to me. Now, he did have a T6 here back in 2022, missed a cut here last year, but you said this just a minute ago. These guys are all over the place sometimes up here. They miss a cut, T6. He's not really showing out too well, though, in the BTN model that I'm looking at. 65th in the model. So I'm going to trust the model here, and I'm just going to go with Fitzy. Of all the people up here, other than one particular guy who I actually like a lot this week, he is the worst in the 30 to 1 and under. So as far as the model is concerned, isn't this weird that I am trusting a freaking model? Yeah. Would you ever have said that? Would you, if you like 8 years ago when we first started Tour Junkies, you would like look forward and say, Pat is going to completely trust a model when it comes to a pick? That you would never think that I would do that.
Pat has gotten older and wiser. That's number one. And when you know the kind of people and the pedigree behind determining the model, and you realize what they know versus what you know and what everybody else knows, you realize that you should probably just trust it.
Yeah.
And odds are you'll be okay. I am going to go with the guy that kind of screwed you last week. I'm going with Lud. I'm going with Thudvig. 25 to 1. Like I said, this place, Pebble Beach will neuter the distance off the tee. He's going to have to scale back. Now, he does hit his long irons well. The short irons, because Pebble Beach is a wedge fest and a long iron. Like, there are more long irons than a lot of people realize. And on Pebble, you can separate yourself with some long irons. There's not a whole lot out of the middle of the bag. Ludwig's long irons are pretty good. Wedges, not so good. Scrambling ability out of the bunker, and obviously we're talking about a small sample size thus far, also not good. Now, if you watch some of the highlights that went around, I say highlights, lowlights that went around last week, you would think that Ludwig lost a ton of strokes putting on those POA surfaces last week, but he actually gained strokes putting overall for the event. I think he's a little more comfortable on POA than people realize. But it's not like he set the world on fire, and I'm just going to trust that he's going to be playing from similar spots as a lot of guys, and that's going to not let him separate himself the way he wants to. So I'm going Lud. All right. Those are the fades in the season-long bet. What about guys you like in this 30-1 range or shorter?
Well, this is one that I thought you were going to potentially go to, but I really like him this week. Jordan Spieth at 18-1. Big fan.
I actually like Spieth too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the season-long bet, he really screwed me because I went against him at the Century. Now, obviously, a much different course, but he did surprise me coming out the gates, looking pretty good that first week.
He did.
He's played here very well in the past. He's won this golf tournament. So,
do we like Spieth more here at Pebble if it's like, let's say the weather, all the wind and all that stuff goes away by Thursday morning, and it's just the rest of the week is just cold, and the place is wet, lift clean in place, and wet. Do we like him more like that at Pebble, or do we like him more if the wind kind of gets going and maybe they don't get as much rain and the place firms up a little bit?
I like him more with more difficult conditions. I would like him a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen him win an Open Championship. We've seen just the way he plays the game is very feel oriented in itself, which I think lends itself to more difficult conditions because you're having to think of how to play a shot and not just bomb and gouge, or you really got to think your way around this golf course. So I think that Spieth at 18-1 is a pretty good bet. Also DB, I'm just back in on JT, Justin Thomas. I like him. He's at 30-1 on a lot of sites that you can get to. I'm a big fan of that. And then I'd probably would say if I'm going to go up near the favorites, I'm probably looking at Vic. Looking at Hovland there at 12-1 if you want to bet a favorite. Now it's hard to go against Scheffler. I would certainly say, but if we were going to argue between Scheffler and Rory, I would certainly go Scheffler over Rory here. But I think of the top three, I would go Victor.
I got another guy, and I want to talk about Victor before I do. I want to remind everybody, check out our friends at SoBet. SoBet is our favorite betting platform that we've ever seen. So check it out. Link in the description. Promo code TJ. You can sign up. Promo code TJ trial also gets you your first month for free. They've got so many good handicappers dishing out NFL bets. I saw a bunch of greens, check marks, and units being won for the conference championships on Sunday. NFL bets are going to be flying off the freaking, they're going to be going nuts. Everybody's getting one. Insert Oprah gift. You get a Super Bowl prop bet. You get a Super Bowl prop bet. It's all there for SoBet. Check it out. It's only $9.95 a month. Unlimited access. You can cancel anytime. We drop exclusive bets in there as well. And check out our friends at SoBet. Link in the description. I'm avoiding any favorite shorter than 18-1. I just for a lot of reasons I've already mentioned. So I'm out.
Well, we know this. You've never.
No, I'm saying if I were going to bet one of those favorites, I'm out. I tried. I would give you one. I gave you two favorites last week. I gave you Homa and Kawa at 12-1, but I'm not interested in them here at Pebble. I know Vic's had some success here. U.S. Juniors, U.S. Open, obviously.
U.S. Amateur, not U.S.
U.S. Am. Yeah, my bad. I just don't. I'm not. I think my two favorite bets in this range are JT,
yes,
who you mentioned. And then second favorite is Max Homa again. And then Spieth is close behind. But I think if I had to pick one out of those two at 18-1, I got to give a slight edge to Max still. Just for the approach play, the Cali connection. Obviously, Spieth has a great connection here in Pebble as a past winner. But I guess I still, even though Spieth showed us something at the Century, we know how erratic he can be. I still think I trust Homa a little more at 18-1. Decent finish at the Farmers, T13, nothing to be upset about there. So I think I go Homa there. Homa and JT are my two favorites, but I love the next two ranges, so I'm probably not gonna have. I might have JT on DB's Big Balls betting card. I might.
I don't think that I have written down more names for the next two ranges than
Same.
I have in a golf tournament all year
Same.
long. And I can't bet them all.
Well,
there are a lot of.
it depends.
Well, yeah.
There are a lot. Okay, let's.
By the way, I will just go ahead and say, because I've put this in the Nut Hut. I have already bet. Well, actually, I didn't put these. I need to add it. I've already bet Spieth and JT.
Oh wow! Look
And
at
then some of the ones I'm about to talk about. But
look at Pat's. Not
a
that
little
anyone,
teaser there. Get in the Nut Hut, people.
not that anyone.
I'm all about ads tonight.
Yeah, not that anyone really cares. Betting card hitting early, gotta love it. All right, yeah. Let's kick it off with this range. I want to start. If you think that the first PGA Tour event in 2024, I get Tommy Ladd Fleetwood after beating Rory in Dubai. If you think I'm not betting Tommy Ladd at 40-1, you don't know me, sir or ma'am. You don't know me. You don't. I am a 100% firing on that. I don't care what boxes he is or is not checking. I don't care. I spent almost the entire season last year blowing units all over Tommy Fleetwood. None of them.
Now, wait a second.
None of them made it.
Check. Wait, Tony. Tony.
I did that on purpose. I knew that was coming.
Mark that one. Go ahead, mark that
I
one.
knew that was coming. I knew it was
Time
coming.
out. Time out. Since we're in, so we're in this mode, go ahead and mark
I will not miss that in an 80-man field. Give me stellar approach play. Give it to me. 40-1 Tommy Ladd was hit early this morning.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't.
I'm blowing units with you.
Well, I'll tag you in. We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it together.
God.
There are so many names in here. I was like dying to. Well, let's do this. We'll go pop. We'll do some popcorn reading. I do one. You do one. Let's go back and forth so we don't say the same guys.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to start with a guy I loved from the immediate. I mean, he had me at 65-1. Eric Cole. You know, I'm sorry if you didn't. I mean, if Eric Cole screwed you last week, we probably told you that we had some fatigue last week, and I didn't think it was the best fit for him anyway. This week is. This is an Eric Cole week, and you're getting him at 65-1. I think he's gotten a lot shorter since he came out at that number. I don't know. If he's still around 65-1, come back in on the water with Eric Cole, okay? All right? There's no toddlers in the water peeing everywhere like there was last week, okay? It's clean water. They just put new chlorine in the pool. Everything is fine. All the levels are good. It's time to go on Eric Cole at 65-1.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, we're about to list off a bunch of names in here. Tony with an inside joke in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Another guy at the same number that I was very eager to bet. And Pat, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. You're so excited about this range. You said, I don't think I've ever written down more names in here.
I know. I'm totally.
You started the show by going, this is a week where it's all going to get righted.
But that doesn't mean I can't have fun with all these numbers.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
still have fun.
We're gonna have fun with numbers. I mean, he disappoints me a lot, but Russell Henley at 65 again, given the skill set, a guy who's gonna his iron play is so good, wedge play is solid, great around the greens, great out of bunkers. Hadn't played here in a while. For what reason, I'm not sure. T4 at the Sony. Give me Russell Henley at 65.
Golly, love it. Damn.
I bet we're gonna. I mean,
yeah.
I bet we're gonna love all these.
Big fan of Henley. All right, another one you got to go back in on. Now we didn't get to see him last week, which was fine. I'm fine with the break. Benny on 40-1. Jump on in. Benny on. Love it. Top 15 here, by the way. Most people may not remember at the 2019 U.S. Open. So I think Benny on, the way he's playing right now, look, it is. I would say that people probably didn't think the Sony was necessarily the best fit for Ben because of the fact that he's pretty long off the tee. A lot of, it's always kind of think that those guys don't tend to play these courses well. I think it's a perfect comp for how well he did at the Sony Open for playing well here, other than, the different green types. So I like Benny.
As a big-time Benny On fan, I mean, we love Benny On. We're going to get some content with Benny. He's agreed to do some content with us next week at the Waste Management. Can I just say I don't have a good feeling about him right now? I don't have a good feeling. I don't have a good feeling about him here. I just don't. I think next week, I have a great feeling. I just don't have it right now for Benny On.
And I think he's got the vibes going, and they're just going to continue to go.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I am, let me tell you a vibe who I, was all over in the fall. And I told you, what if this is a Wyndham Clark situation? A guy who hits it long off the tee, who gains strokes off the tee, who's a fantastic putter, but a perennially garbage iron player. What if he found something? What if he's using Sean Foley's Pro Sender? You don't even know. He could have that little thing in between his elbows, and now all of a sudden he's figured it out. Bo Hostler, I'm telling you, he loves him some Pebble. Great finishes here the last couple years, and he is clicking with the irons. He's picked up right back where he left off in the fall. Bo Hostler is at 70-1 last I checked on FanDuel. Bo is on the card right now. If I had to narrow it down in this range, Bo's coming with me.
Okay. Fine.
I got more. You got more? I got two more.
Yeah, I got one that I'm a huge fan. I have not mentioned this guy all year, I don't think. But this is another week for him. And you would probably be I feel like this guy has not really been talked to this year much. He's coming off of a top 25 finish at the Sony. So he didn't play the American Express or the Farmers. He has 2 straight top 15 finishes here. One was a T4 last year. Denny McCarthy.
Yep.
I'm going with him. I mean, he's 65-1. It's time to throw in on a little Denny.
Hold on. He was 80.
He was 80?
He's 80 right now on FanDuel and PointsBet. 80.
Where did I see that number then? 65.
DraftKings.
Okay. Yeah, I must have been looking at DraftKings.
Dude, but we can just talk about Denny while we're here. Yes. Agree.
Okay.
Like, this is a perfect spot for Denny. Perfect spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've never been a Denny D rider.
No, you have not.
I've never been a Denny D rider.
Another clip. Clip that one.
I've never been one. And there are a bunch of them out there, brother. Our best, or one of our best buddies, Joe Idoni, certified Denny D rider. Okay. Card carrying. I wouldn't be shocked if he's like legally changed his middle name to like Denny. I've never been on the guy.
I got to get this 80-1 before.
I saw him at 80-1, and I was like, what? 100% yes. If you rode Denny to just absolute bankruptcy last year, betting him over and over again at 30-1 and 25-1, and you remember that? Like, we saw that.
Oh, I had a memorial, I think, and
everyone just knew the win was coming. He is 80-1 at Pebble Beach. You just have to do that. You have to do it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. All right, I think that's it for me in this range. Okay. You may have. I agreed with you completely.
More in the next range.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to narrow this down. We'll move. We'll try to move quickly. We're going to have to use Bet the Number to help us sort this out. That's what we're going to have to do. And you should be using Bet the Number as well. Do not forget that you can use the promo code TJ when you go to checkout, and you get $5 off the monthly sub. You get $50 off the annual sub. If you're a Discord member, you can message me. We've sent out a bunch of unique codes to Discord members in the last 29 days. Bet the Number went live January 1st. The site has already drastically made some great improvements, and more are coming. It is a great one-stop shop for everything you need, fantasy-wise, betting-wise, props, anything golf analytics. Bet the Number's got you covered. Click the link in the description. Promo code TJ gets you the discount. But if you're a Discord paying member, you can DM me or Pat, and we can send you a unique code to get an even bigger annual discount.
That's the important part. You can DM DB
DB,
or
yeah.
me. Okay. If you're intimidated by DB and you don't want to, you're worried about like messing up his day by sending him send me a DM. I don't get a lot of DMs.
Everyone, please send Pat DM.
Send me a DM about bet the number. Okay.
Somebody do it. First person that does it, you'll send them a single ball marker.
You will get a ball marker, and then I'll throw in some extra stuff. You just send me a DM that you want the code.
See, that's the hack is people, if you order a single ball marker, because Pat hates sending a single ball marker, he will add in other stuff.
Yeah, but I kind of got rid of that hack recently.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, because we're out of ball markers for the most part, so I took them off the site.
Good.
So you can't do that.
DM Pat for a single ball marker. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's do the same thing in this range because I have a bunch of names in here too. I got to start. You just did Denny. Also, Brian Harmon. Anybody? We talked about him at the beginning of the show, but
yeah,
he's also 80-1 on FanDuel. This guy, I mean, this place is as built for him as any place, except for the POA. I mean, if it were Bermuda, it'd be a full sin. But still, Brian Harmon at 80-1. I don't understand. I just don't understand. All right, you go.
Well, I'm going to stick with the hot hand a little bit here in Kevin Yu. I mean, the guys that, I think you can get up. It started this week at about 120-1, but I'm seeing them as short as 80-1 on DraftKings. But the guy has been playing extremely well. He's got 2 straight top 10 finishes, has a top 10 here last year. You look at across the board, he checks a lot of boxes off the tee. You look at, approach from those longer iron from that perspective on the BTN model. I think that Kevin Yu is a, very good fit for this golf course. I like him. So if you can get him at 100-1 or 80-1, 90-1, whatever, anywhere in there, I'm going to bet him.
I have concerns with Kevin Yu. I understand the hot hand. I do. He, when he came out on tour last year, he did not necessarily light it up with the putter. He's a pretty terrible putter. If you look at his player page on Bet the Number, the putting is god awful, which I think is a problem at Pebble Beach. I think it could be another putting contest, right? He's another one. His average ball speed is way up there. Absolute nukes it. Driver is out of his hands quite a lot at Pebble as well, much more so than the Farmers and even PGA West. So I have a little bit of reservation on Kevin Yu, although I understand the hot hand. I will see your Kevin Yu and raise you a Chris Kirk. I'm going another Bulldog. Henley, Harmon, Chris Kirk was 100-1 this morning on FanDuel. Again, what about this course doesn't suit Chris Kirk?
Nothing.
100-1. That's what I'm saying. With all these guys in here, you get so many guys who have won on the PGA Tour even multiple times at 75-1, 65-1 or longer. That's incredible value for an 80-man field that could be an interesting high variance golf tournament again.
Yeah. No,
give me Chris Kirk. I don't care. I don't care how much or how little necessarily some of these guys have played. I mean, he tends to make a point to play here. He didn't play here last year, but did the previous 5 out of 6 years. T16 finish back in 2021 was his best, but the way he's playing at the moment, the way he's hitting it, I mean, his irons have been incredible. And one of the things that we don't talk about, I don't think a lot of people talk about, there are these guys who have ridiculous accuracy off the tee, and not necessarily that Chris Kirk has that. I don't think he necessarily does, like Brian Harmon, Denny McCarthy do. Another guy that I'm going to talk about here in a second if you don't say his name. But there are guys who are stupid accurate with the driver that on certain holes here at Pebble can still hit driver when a lot of other guys will be laying back. Like, somebody might be hitting a driving iron or a fairway wood or something off the tee. And these guys know that because they can hit that driver so damn straight, they actually, get to hit last sometimes in their group and not always first because they're hitting driver. There are guys that can take advantage of that, and that's going to give them more wedge opportunities here.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right. Why, if we liked Sepp Straka so much last week, do we not like him this week? And now we said
I didn't like him.
No, neither did I. We said that
I don't know who would like him right now. I don't like him.
I like him this week. I actually
Why?
like Sepp this week. There's a lot of reasons to like Sepp this week.
How are there a lot of reasons to like Sepp this week, and there were no reasons to like Sepp last week?
Well, here's the reason I like Sepp. 15th on approach with small greens, which I think is a very interesting thing to look at when you are talking about a course like this with the smallest greens on tour. And you know what? We don't see that. We don't get to look at that a lot. So I love that about BTN. We're looking at approach in those long irons. He's 12th in the field there. In general, his strokes gained approach is very good. Now, look, I get it. If you look at his recent form, the T12 at the Century was pretty good. The miscut at the Farmers, I didn't like him last week. But I thought he was too short. He was steamed up a ton. And that was really what caused me to, kind of look back and say, like, all right, Sepp Straka is getting steamed up a lot. Where did he go from like 70 to 80 to 1 to like 40 to 1? Like it was ridiculous. That I don't like. But you're going to get Sepp this week at 110 to 1. I'll take it. I like it a little bit better. Sepp's a guy that I think can win a golf tournament like this. Just like I think Keith Mitchell. We're going to talk two Bulldogs right there. Keith Mitchell, same thing. 110 to 1, right in that range. I like Keith Mitchell as well. The guy who's also performed extremely well on this golf course in the past and has a top 10 recently. So I do think I think Keith Mitchell is another one that I like in here.
I'd rather have Mitchell than Sepp. By the way, you can build a hell of a Georgia Bulldog lineup this week.
Yeah, you can.
I know this is a DFS show. Speaking of Georgia Bulldogs, the guy who came runner-up to Justin Rose last year, Brendan Todd, is definitely in play as well at 110 to 1 on FanDuel. He's got a runner-up and a T16 finish here the last 2 years. Look at the ball striking to start the year. The iron play has been fantastic. Probably a lot less opportunities for him to gain strokes off the tee at the Century and the Sony, which he lost strokes on both of those. But look at this is what I'm talking about with a guy like Brendan Todd. Brendan Todd has one of the highest driving accuracy rates of anyone on the PGA Tour. It's nearly 70% in the last 24 rounds. If you look at his off the tee numbers at Pebble the last 2 years, he's gained a stroke and 3/4 of a stroke off the tee, which he normally doesn't do. He doesn't normally gain a lot of strokes off the tee. And I think it's because of what I just talked about. He can pull driver on some holes where a lot of guys are like, you know what? I'm just going to hit it 265, 275 with this 3-iron or this driving iron or this whatever. And he's still hitting driver 285, and he's got a little shorter club into these greens, and I think it helps. I think Brendan Todd at 110 to 1 is also very nice. And you're getting another guy, multiple PGA Tour winner, who we know can close the door. Love it. I got a couple more. Who else you got here? And then we'll wrap this up because I don't have a whole lot of bombs over 125. But
no, that's it. That's it for me. I've got 2 bombs, and that's it.
All right, quickly. 2 past champions here, Hoagie and Nick Taylor, are interesting to me. When you get these guys on these golf courses, that are just much better fits for them. And, Tom Hoagie, we talked to, a year or so ago. He loves golf courses where everybody plays from the same place off the tee. He loves those where he can flex the iron play. And the iron play has been trending nicely. Nick Taylor, both of those guys, again, 110 to 1. Big numbers. Not guys I'm necessarily excited about at 50 or 60 to 1 if they're there, but huge numbers. The last name I want to throw out, Pat, a guy who has been hot so far in 2024 with 2 things. Irons and putting.
I know where you're going. Actually, I don't. Go ahead.
This is wild, okay? And maybe it's not safe. Maybe this is unprotected handicapping. Maybe this should be a top 10. As I'm saying it, it's probably a top 10. But wouldn't it just be weird as hell if Matthieu Pavon continued to do the thing at
I thought about it.
125 to 1 on PointsBet?
Yeah. Pavon. Matthieu. I actually have him written down, and I'm gonna give you credit because I was a little too nervous to mention him again, but the guy has just been
he gained 4.5 strokes with his irons at the Sony. He gained 5.4 with his irons last week at the Farmers. I don't know what he did at the Amex because the tour screwed up the freaking shot link. He gained 8 strokes putting between those two events. Obviously, the Farmers gained 6 putting on POA. Like, now he's horribly inaccurate off the tee. That could be a problem.
Yeah, that could be a
But
little
the
bit of
irons are so scorching hot. First win on the PGA Tour. Right after that, like this is probably not a great spot. However, at 125 to 1. I mean, the guy did win on the DP World Tour. It's not like it's not his first professional win. Like
and he can just absolutely putt the lights out of the golf ball too.
I said it on Saturday night. Saturday night, I see some stuff on Twitter. I was doing my Prize Picks underdog stuff, and I saw some people on Twitter like, "Oh, Pavon's gonna, he's gonna regress. He's not gonna putt like this forever, and he may not. Obviously, putting is high variant." But I was like, "Dude, the guy was 18th on the DP World Tour last season in putting. All he's done since he's shown up to the PGA Tour is putt the hell out of it. Why would we stop thinking in the 4th round that he was just going to forget how to putt? I bought it. We bought him on Prize Picks. We bought him on Underdog, and those cashed. I just think the guy's still hot. Again, probably a safer if you just want to hit a bomb top 10 on a guy who's hot. Matthieu Pavon top 10 is probably a better play, but 125 to 1 is dang tempting to me.
Yeah.
All right. What about bomb category? Who do you got?
2 bombs.
Over 125 to 1.
2 bombs. One is more just a general thought that this guy just plays good on the West Coast, and we saw some form last week, and I know you love him, and sometimes I like to do things just for you, DB.
Oh.
So Mav McNeely at 175 to 1. I'm going to fire in a little bit on. I think this is this to me is a good fit for him. We saw him. Let me.
Well, he grew up playing Cyprus, and this is his favorite place on earth to play.
He's had a 2nd place finish here, which is probably the one time he had a shot to win, right? Like a real shot. Seems like that was. It didn't seem like that was as long ago as 2021, but I guess it was. He did withdraw from this event last year. He's not going to check a whole lot of boxes for you, but still, Mav, I like there at 175 to 1. And then Hubs, man, Mark Hubbard. Great course fit for Mark Hubbard. Now, he is going to show up a lot when you look at various models when you're talking about strokes gained approach, driving accuracy, very accurate off the tee.
Hubbard? Hubbard is not accurate off the tee. Oh, I guess he is.
I'm looking at it.
I guess he straightened it out a little bit.
I mean, I'm looking at a model that I made.
Yeah, you're right. He is.
14th in driving accuracy in this field. T20 last week has a top 20 here last year. I like Hubbard there at 150 to 1.
He also gained 8.4 strokes on approach at the Farmers. That's a lot. Now, the Farmers, you're obviously hitting more mid irons and long irons, but that's a lot. I like Hubbard too. 200 to 1 is enticing. I got only one other name. If it just keeps getting weird, I think Brandon Wu at 250 to 1 is somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
18th place finish at the Sony, missed the cut at the Amex, but he still shot 11 under. Runner up here last year at Pebble, hit the ball great, lost a little bit around the greens. Kind of a above average accurate guy off the tee, kind of average ball speed, really good bunker player, and gain strokes on approach at a solid clip. His green and reg numbers are much higher than a lot of guys in this range. 250 is a nice number. So Brandon Wu would be a reach, but yeah, let's go with that. All right, let's do the top 26 pack. I've got the wheel right here. Ooh, we'll go.
Oh, I'm so nervous about that. I forgot.
Let's do the top 26.
I already forgot.
and then we're going to do the wheel. Now, we are doing top 20s, even though it's an 80-man field event, no cut. We found I found plenty of plus money value. We talked about a lot of these names already. So let's see. If I'm going to start with 2 locks, I'm going to start with Justin Thomas, plus 105. The thing we didn't say about Justin is I do think JT is a weatherproof kind of guy. I think he's good in the soft, let's throw darts with our wedges contest. And I also think he's good if it's windy and somewhat biblical. So I like JT, top 20, 105 on DraftKings.
All right. Well, I'll steal this one from you, but I do like it. I'm going with Tommy Fleetwood, plus 125.
Tommy lad, talk to me. Okay. Yep. Stole that one. My next lock, I'm going to give you, I'm going to lock in Brendan Todd at plus 250. I actually think B Todd top 20 plus 250 is in the lock category for me.
Okay. I don't mind that. Then I will go with Denny McCarthy at plus 210.
Solid. All right. So the 4 locks, Denny, Tommy Ladd, Brendan Todd, Justin Thomas, all top 20s. My bomb at 4-1 or longer is going to be the guy I just talked about, Brandon Wu at 4-1. Like I said, above average accuracy, average ball speed off the tee, runner-up finisher last year, and solid iron play, good around the greens. I'll take Brandon Wu, 4-1.
All right. Well, there's not a whole lot that are at 4-1 and over in this field, so there's not a whole lot of choices. So I'll just go with Matt McNeely at plus 400 also.
That's probably the next safest bet. If you're, buying into the course history angle, obviously Mav quite comfy here, quite familiar with the Pebble Beach courses on offer this week. All right, let's update the people on what's going on next week. We will be at the Waste Management. By the way, if you're going to be there, let us know. Send us a DM on Twitter, Instagram, email us info@tourjunkies.com. DM us on Discord. Let us know. We'd love to meet as many of you as possible. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll be there doing the media thing. We're going to get some great content with some friends out there. Our friends at Swannies will be hanging out in the merch area at Waste Management. We'll probably spend some time with them. We're going to be at the DK Sportsbook on Tuesday night. Looking forward to that. Going to see the on-site DK Sportsbook there at TPC Scottsdale. We will be doing shows next week. It will be crazy, but we're going to figure that out. I'm flying out on Monday. Pat will already be there by Monday, but we're going to figure it out and we'll let you know. And on Friday, we do have, I meant to say this on a couple of shows ago and I forgot. Friday, we're playing golf at a course called Dobson Ranch, which is a sick muni in great shape. And these people love to party and play golf. Yeah. There's music everywhere. The vibe is killer. It is right up our alley. We still have, I think, 3 spots left. We just reserved a couple tee times for some listeners to hang out with and play some golf with. We're going to play early Friday morning. Unfortunately, it's very early.
Very early.
We'd see off at like 7:30 in the morning on Friday. It'll be chilly. It'll be early, but we'll get our coffee, maybe a Bloody Mary or 2, and we'll take off because me and Pat have to fly out on Friday afternoon. We will be at the Waste Management on Thursday too, hanging around, having a good time. So if you're out there, hit us up, let us know. I think that's it. Now it is time for the Wheel of Punishments. Let's go through.
Get a good spin, by the way. When you spin this thing, I want you to put some muscle into it.
Okay. Again, the loser at the end of the PGA Tour season in August, the loser is going to have to do whatever punishment this lands on. And that loser is the person whose players that they are choosing to fade in that shorter than 30-1 range that we talked about at the top of the show. If they have more total earnings on the season in dollars, they are the loser. So lowest total wins, highest total loses, and we'll do what is on this here wheel. Now, let's run through a couple of these. And I will say, whatever it lands on, there is some room for some tweaking as we go. I had to keep it kind of broad on the wheel because there's not a lot of room. And thank you to all the listeners and people who sent in some suggestions. It was funny. A lot of them didn't work, but weren't.
And there were only a couple of vetoes.
There were only a couple of vetoes. All right. The first one is attend a lame concert. Now, if that happens, we would definitely take suggestions for what lame concert that should be, and it would probably be a place that we would travel to, and we'd have to go. A lot of these we're going to do by ourselves, but we might bring one person to record and have content come from it, because we would not want to do this without getting content from it. There is go on a lovely date with a cardboard Siwoo Kim. So go on a date with our sweet South Korean prince. Mm-hmm. This one I love. Only if you lose. This might be my favorite. A Scott Stallings 2-a-day. And Scott Stallings did say he would do this. If we would travel to Tennessee, where he lives, and Scott would put us through a workout in the morning and a workout in the afternoon, the Scott Stallings way. And either one of us will die. Will die. But the content that could come out of that could be fantastic. This one could also be funny. Depending on what kind of access we could get and microphone, camera we could get, behind this. Maybe it'd have to be a caddy cam. But one of us would have to sign up and play in some sort of USGA qualifier. Doesn't have to be like the US Open, but like a USGA qualifying event. Pat is a 12 handicap. I am an 8.
I mean, I would probably have to lie about the hand, or like,
yeah, we'd have to be something.
I'd have to figure out something to get my handicap. Well, I couldn't lie because it's a USGA.
We may have to. If anybody listening works for the USGA, we may have to have you like sneak us in.
Yeah.
Attend a WNBA game solo. Get a real Golby tattoo. So our mascot, our blind squirrel mascot, Golby. Yeah. There's a listener's choice option on here, Pat, where if it lands on that, we will have the listeners decide. This one is very interesting. Let me tell you, the fringe benefits of being a Nut Hut member, not the ones we talk about, but there are other fringe benefits. By the way, I see people in the chat talking about all the stuff I have to ship to you. Yes, I'm looking at it all. It's all boxed. It's all addressed. It's like 20 boxes that I have to get in my car and go down to the post office and spend 2 hours of my life shipping. I will get it. I'm sorry, but it's free. So shut up. Another fringe benefit. No, it is not, Tony. Is one of us would have to travel and be a butler for the day to a Tour Junkies Nut Hut member that would be chosen through some other sort of contest. That one could be interesting.
That one really could be interesting.
This one would be another physically challenging situation. Caddy an 18-hole Pro-Am for one of our PGA Tour buddies. We have plenty of caddies that would happily give up the bag for a full day in the Pro-Am. And Pat and I have both put a few bags on our back before. It would take me a while to recover from that.
Yeah. Well, it would take me, for sure.
Obviously, this is ending in August, but we would have to do this in the winter. We have a lot of listeners who live in these cold, frigid areas, and you guys are always pissing and moaning about it in the Discord, in the fall and the winter. But we would travel somewhere where they do a big, like, community polar plunge, and you jump in a frozen lake or not a frozen.
Hey, I've kind of done that already.
Have you?
Yeah, you didn't see it?
No. What?
Don't worry about
it. And that is it. Those are the punishments. Those are the punishments. So, are we ready?
I'm very nervous, but yeah, I'm ready.
Says the guy who's you're losing.
I mean, I'm losing right now.
$2 million.
So, yeah.
Here we go. Oh, that was a good spin. Attend a lame concert.
Okay.
That one I'm okay with. I'm kind of okay with it.
All right.
Attend a lame concert. You got to go by yourself or like borderline by yourself. Tony already talked about an idea for that one.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, obviously it has to be somebody that everybody knows, right? Like it's not.
Yeah. It needs to be. Yeah. And it also needs to be somebody that at least me, you, Tony would agree is lame.
Okay. All right.
It has to be that too. But it could be at an interesting location. Listen, if a TJ listener or Nut Hut member wants to invite us to one of, to that concert, we will go with you and you can video the content for us. I think that could be fun. Yeah. All right. We'll figure that out. attend a Lane concert. I think that one's not bad. It's not terrible. I really wanted the Scott Stallings 2-a-day for you, though. I will say that.
Well,
all right, check out the Danny Woodhead stuff. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl with Danny. He's got a couple of funny stories about him playing in the Super Bowl, his takes on the Super Bowl, and yeah, all that is on the end of the DFS show. And don't forget to check out Woodhead on the state of golf on Friday. We'll drop on our YouTube channel. Also, I will be doing a live preview. I think Pat might try to join me as well. We're going to do a live preview for Mayakoba, which also starts this week. All right. I think that's it. Good show. Bend over your bookies. See ya.
Oh, and I'm not leaving this building until there is a finger up